Hello, this is David Gould, Sloane Toyota Philadelphia, bringing you the 2019 Toyota CHR. This is the LE model of the car. You notice body lines, the aerodynamics, Lexus type of styling, the door handle in the rear up on the, I guess it would be C-pillar, allows access into the back of the car. It is a dark, but it's a 4-seater, 5-seater up on the inside there. Upgraded fabric. Car's nice. These are smaller than our RAV4. Sportier styling. They are front-wheel drive vehicles. Got a nice large trunk, electronic release in the back. Those seats are 60/40. They fold down, giving you a lot of space if you would decide that you want to put some extra items inside there. Going underneath our layout here, we've got what I would call the 3/4 size spare, meaning it's full height with a little skinnier than a regular size tire. The reason this vehicle's tire is full height instead of the small donut is because that allows for the rotation of the tire to match the other wheels. Now you say, why would that be important? Why is it important that the spare tire be the same size physically, so we got 17-inch in this case here, as these cars? The reason it's important is because of these safety features right here, okay? The Star safety system is using sensors at each wheel, and what's they doing? They're watching the rotation of the tires. If we had a littler tire, it would rotate faster, and that would begin to send false information back to the computer and make some of these systems begin to start acting up. In the Star safety system, which our vehicles have had since about 2010 and before, but by 2010 all of our cars had it, vehicle stability control. That's the one that's going to automatically straighten the car back out to where the steering wheel's pointed. Also let off the gas for you. Traction control, which is going to keep you so that the front two wheels in the case of this car are going to spin at the same rate. Anti-locking braking system. Now with 4-wheel anti-locking brakes, each wheel can be on a different surface and it will still brake and give you a straight, keeping that steering wheel straight using the systems back up here. But the important thing is that there's a sensor at each wheel, 4-channel anti-locking brake. I wish they would add that 4. Electronic brake force distribution. That makes it so that the vehicle, as you're slamming on the brakes, it doesn't nosedive. Like as you were talking about submarining down, it would actually come in, it hits the back first, it comes up and then flat when it comes in. It makes it stop faster too, because now you have all 4 tires with more equal pressure on them. So more rubber on the road, more weight, makes it great for that. Brake assist allows for, as you come off of the gas, and I'm talking about there being a snap feature right off the gas, right onto the brake. It actually will set that brake automatically into going to the floor for you. So it actually makes us like superhuman drivers. Now, interesting enough, that feature is going to get pulled over to this side here when we get into our 2020 technologies. This I would call 2010 technologies. This is going to bring us into the 2020s because the other guys, they haven't even caught up with us yet on that. And then the smart stop technology goes back to like when you step on the brake, it automatically cuts off the gas. You can't have the gas fighting with the brake in the car. And if you were familiar with Toyota back in 2010, that was an important feature to have added. All right, so let's go move on to Safety Sense. Safety Sense is going to be, okay, we're going to put some radar and we're going to put some cameras. They're going to talk together and they're going to work to be able to, in particular right here, this pre-collision system, it's going to engage your brake assist automatically. You're driving along, I'm in dark clothes, I step out in front of you, you never saw me. This car with the P, that's important, pedestrian, it's going to automatically slam on the brakes for you, okay? I know I'm spending a little bit extra time with this, but if you didn't know that this stuff was in the car, you're missing out on $3,000-$4,000 worth of stuff. And when you look at the outside of the car, you can't see it. You're not going to know it's there until the day that the car actually acts up for you. So it's a fantastic feature, whether you're a new driver, whether you've been out there driving a long time. We can never predict somebody running a red light, somebody stopping short in front of us. That's what this system is going to be able to help out with. lane departure is going to have where the camera is going to actually be watching, and it actually kind of like nudges you to keep you inside the lane. But more importantly, up on your dashboard, you'll see your lights. You don't realize how often you are hugging a lane left or right. Automatic high beams, again, gives you more light, more time, more chances to be able to see something you wouldn't have seen if you had to manually bring those lights up, down a lot. And then you're going to have dynamic cruise control. For those who use cruise control, they love this feature. I'm not a huge cruise control user myself, but the idea is you don't have to re-engage your cruise control after it disengages each time. The car will automatically slow down and speed up, keeping the distance between whatever car you set in the prior setting. So pretty neat. All right, coming off of those things, let's get back out onto the car. Puddle lights. This was a big deal back years ago. I remember all the luxury cars had the puddle lights. They light up and your blinkers will be in there. And it sounds dumb, but even the blinkers themselves, the idea that somebody is in the opposite lane coming this way can see the blinker here. Somebody in your blind spot can see the blinker right here. And somebody who's coming in at an angle on a T-bone side would see your blinker here, and also here a little bit. Allows for that system, this simple system, to really give a lot of indication as to what you're about to do with that car when you're ready to change a lane, right? Otherwise, you're looking at, there's lights out to each side, but that one becomes a really big one. I like it, and I think every car should have it out there. Not a bad idea. The 17-inch wheels on a car this size really fill out the wheel well, gives a nice look to the car, going with that sporty feel. Same thing with the plastic protection along the bottom. And people really don't think, they look at this design, but that also is giving you protection from stones, rocks, things like that flying up against the car. So I mean, it is pretty nice to have. Vortex generators, believe it or not, these little pieces of plastics jutting out right here, they make the air. There's going to be ones up in the front. Let's take a look right there. And then if you could picture the air coming around the front of the car, cutting through, and then spinning, doing this. Cutting through here, and then out. As it goes out, instead of wrapping around the back of the car, the air goes straight out. And that makes the car more sleek, kind of like a dolphin cutting through the water, okay? It's a pretty cool feature, simple enough to be able to do. And hey, when you start to add up all the cars that are out there on the road, and if it picks up even a quarter of a mile per gallon over your trip or whatever your time is, it starts to add up over time, right? So that's not a bad thing, just for adding a couple little design areas in the inside. So let's jump inside the car here. Or actually, you know what? Let's go under the hood real quick. Under the hood, we have a 4-cylinder. I already said this is a front-wheel drive. It uses projection headlamps up in the front. And also, those are LEDs. I don't know if you can see the LEDs up inside there or not, but you see the little LEDs up inside. That gives a nice look, and also they are functional. Up underneath the hood here, we can see they're calling it Valvematic on the inside now. My time, we call it a variable valve. All right, it is a manual hood. It is a heavy manual hood that I'm holding up there right now. 0W20, all right, that means you got synthetic oil in here, which is good. You're talking about changing oil maybe once every 6 months or every 10,000 miles. So when you're talking about, actually it's once a year now, once a year or every 10,000 miles with that. When you talk about the different systems that are underneath the hood here, nowadays, we really don't do a whole lot of work on the cars ourselves, but if you did need to change an alternator out over a long time, a lot of the manufacturers have those hidden way down on the bottom. It takes a lot of time and effort to be able to get into them. It is a wear item eventually, maybe 100,000, maybe 150,000, depending on your use of it. It would have to be replaced. It keeps the cost of the car down when you talk about the overall ownership. I was trying to look in here, and you can see in this car's case, it's tucked all the way in the back here, way down there. That is the controller for the 4-channel. See those are your brake lines. That's the motor, and the computer's back on the other side there. And that block right there controls so that the sensors can send that signal back onto the inside of the car and make those wheels line back up with your steering wheel. That's how that variable valve system works. So thought I'd just take a second to show you what that looked like underneath the hood. Maybe a little bit too much information, right? Let's jump into the car. It's actually starting to get a little cold out here. Inside the car, we're looking at automatic, all 4 windows, up and down. Information center up on the center right there. That's going to give you kind of in English what's going on with the car. For example, right there you can see the door open, door closed. Our steering wheel, typical Toyota. All right, we got our Bluetooth controls, we got our thumb controls for the radio, controls here for that information center. Lane keep, we can control that. Settings, we got the radar for setting and locking in the radar, cruise control. Basically think of like, you know, a car out in front of you, and you set the distance as to how far you want the distance to be by pressing and holding this button, and then the car will just keep up with whatever that setting is. Your cruise control sitting right down here is standard Toyota, also right here, right? So we can just touch this on the inside and we'll be right out. And then we got here our key system and the radio up on top. Now the radios went from the AHA system, because these cars, they came out of the Scion, which Toyota owned Scion, and they closed Scion, right? That was the one price cars. This was made for the Scion division. The prior CHRs would have had the Scion AHA radio system in them. But now these 2019s have the 3.0 Entune system in them. All right, why does it make a difference? If you're an Apple owner, that gives you Apple CarPlay. This is the Android user here, so I'm really not the authority on all the extra stuff that comes with that. But evidently, a lot of people are using that feature right now in the cars, and it's a nice one to know that's in the car, okay? Now, basically what has to happen is this has to be linked up to the phone, and then it's going to drop apps. It's going to make it so that you can do a ton of stuff safely while you're driving the car. Think of them as dumbed down apps. It's not going to let you do every feature. You're not going to be able to be setting map controls while you're driving, but you can use the map, and you can certainly set those controls while the car's sitting, all right, on the side, you know, once you're back in park. This is a CVT, single speed transmission. It's got an electronic emergency brake here. So when we're setting parking brake, so we set that in, and to release it, we just press the button on the inside right there. This is giving us our traction control off button right here. Why would you want to turn off that safety feature? If you've ever been stuck in snow and you had to rock a car back and forth, you cannot rock the car with traction control on, because when those wheels start to spin, what's going to happen? It's going to let off the gas, right? So the only way to be able to move the car, to get it out if the wheels were slipping, would be to take traction off. And if I hit that off, it should say right up in front, traction off, right? That would allow the wheels to spin, and then at that point we could be able to get the car backwards, forwards, out of our spot, instead of having to get out and start digging or worse with a tow truck, right? So I hope this video is helpful so far, give you a better idea about the CHR. And if there's other questions that we can help you here at Sloane Toyota Philadelphia, this is David Gould. I am a resource here as well. I'm one of the managers. If I can help you, you're certainly welcome to ask for me directly. Once again, David Gould at Sloane Toyota Philadelphia. We'll look forward to hearing from you. If you have any questions, just feel free to put any notes down at the bottom. I'll do my best to keep up with the comments. Thank you.